Buongiorno a tutti, io sono Rosso e Azzurri, and you get it. We're going to be talking about Italy, out of the World Cup, failed to qualify against Bosnia in Bosnia, defeat in a penalty shootout, and for the third time in a row, Italy is going to be missing the World Cup. Crazy from a country that's got 4 stars on their jersey, that won this World Cup 4 times. Crazy to think that they're going to be going 16 years without participating in one. And yeah, heartbreak for a whole country in Bosnia. Joy on the other side, and a well-deserved qualification. So let's dive in and just talk about this game. So Italy-Bosnia, Bosnia-Italy, because it was in Bosnia, and that changes a lot of things. 1-1 after 90 minutes, extra time, and then penalty shootout. Bosnia wins, I think, 4-1 in the end. Lots of things to talk about. And it is a failure of massive proportion, because when you're a country with four World Cup win in your history, you just cannot fall to this level of this Italy team. And honestly, there is blame with everyone at every level. It's literally no one anywhere in and around this team performed at the level that they should have to qualify for the World Cup. And at the same time, when you scratch at it, I think ultimately, yes, there's a mental element to it, and I can't get past this. So we'll get through it. 1-1. Italy opens the score by Moise Kean, then got Bastoni sent off just before the end of the first half. Played 10v11 for the rest of the game. Bosnia managed to equalize in the second half on the 79th minute, and then went all the way to the penalty shootout. And yeah, we had an Italy team that came into this game with fear in their stomach. And I think for me, that's the thing that I cannot get over, and I cannot get over it, is that sometimes in football, things are very complex. There's tactics, there's technical performance, there's player connections, and a lot of things go into play. Sometimes it's easy, and in the end, Italy, and I kind of felt it when we did the preview video before the Northern Ireland game with my friend Anto. Italy was setting itself up for a loss. They were all expecting it. They were looking at this team and going "Oh, we're not good. We're not good enough. We're not gonna make it. It's a failure. We fail. We're ultimately, you have to go into the pitch wanting to win the game. And I think Italy, at best, they came wanting not to lose. And in all honesty, I think they just came in wanting to not be ridiculous. That was the objective for them. Because ultimately, they start the game, they get the first goal, they've got opportunities. Bosnia is not bad, even before before the red card. Bosnia is definitely matching up and has their opportunities as well. And then they will tell you the red card changed everything. But there's no reason why it should, unless you let it. If you're Italy and you've got the better players and you're the better country and the better team on the pitch, even with a red card, you continue doing what you have to do. They get that opportunity by Moise Kean that they fail to land. And then progressively, they put themselves in a position of losing. They put themselves there. Simple as that. And so, yes, there's things to talk about. Yes, Bastoni shouldn't have fouled in this position. Yes, Donnarumma could have been better, during the red card opportunity and having a better clearance at the beginning, but also during the penalty shootout, which is supposed to be a specialty. Yes, Pio Esposito should think his penalty or not have to take the first one. Yes, Moiskin shouldn't be subbed off because when you're 10v11, you want a fast, pacey attacker who can get opportunities on the counter. Yes, Gattuso isn't the best coach in the world and may not be at the level that's necessary to get this Italy team back from the dead. Yes, the Italian Football League is not at the level that it used to be. It's not competitive, and it doesn't have a tactical mentality in Italian football in general that can get transcended into a national team. But at the end of days, all of those things like can not matter. They mattered because the Italian team and the thing allowed them to matter. Because like yeah, Gattuso is not the best coach in the world, but I like please anyone who's watching this without like googling it, tell me who's the coach of the Bosnian team. Like honestly, like tell me who is it? And, like is it really a better coach than with more experience of top competitions and cutting edge matches as Gennaro Gattuso? Yes, like Italian players aren't the best generation ever of Italian footballers. But on the other side, I'm sorry, their most well-known player, Edin Dzeko, is 40 years old. And sure, he was a great player, but he's 40 years old. Don't tell me that Tonali and Bastoni and Donnarumma and Barella and Moiskin, like they match up more than fine. So you can complain, yes, like the tactical identity is maybe not strong enough, but you don't need to reinvent the wheel when you're Italy to qualify for the World Cup and beat Bosnia. This is the first time we have a World Cup with I think 48 teams, like literally like everyone is in there. And it's never been as easy to qualify. And I'm sorry, but when you're Italy and you get scored on 7 times by Norway, 7 times by Norway, and then you fail to score more than one goal against Bosnia, yeah, you run out of chances. You run out of chances, but that's of your own doing. Because like they didn't come into this game to win it. They didn't come into this playoff to qualify. They are now working under this cloud of defeat and loss and not qualifying 3 times in a row, and it's so hard to break those patterns in football. It's so hard, and we know this as like PSG fans because that's exactly what we had in the Champions League, and why like Luis Enrique is loaded this much by PSG fan, because breaking this pattern of losing when you're supposed to be winning, it's extremely hard to accomplish. But in this case, it should have happened. It should have happened. It was not a matter of overperforming for the Italian team. It was just a matter of showing up, and they didn't show up, and so they won't show up this summer, and that's the way it goes. So, like I said, tons of elements play into it. There's the red card, there's a bad tactical decision, there's a bad personnel decision. Ultimately, it's weird because like if you cannot count on Italy to have this sort of pride in themselves and this like belief in their superiority, I mean, it's like I remember growing up, and like I remember back in the days, like Italy, it was almost a joke. That's like, you know, Italians are always so proud of themselves and so like self-assured and so on. Now, like they're not anymore. They're just beaten down. Like it's just sad to see. Honestly, like it's sad to see. And as a football fan, honestly, like I don't rejoice because like a World Cup without Italy, yeah, it's like I mean, sure, like they even if they had qualified, they wouldn't have been a favorite. They wouldn't have been like capable of going anywhere too deep in this competition. I mean, anything can happen in football, but like I think there's a lot of country and teams that are more stacked in terms of what they bring, and you know, more able to project far into the competition. But at the same time, yeah, like Italy, it is a heavyweight of world football historically. And if you get even one game of Italy versus France, Italy versus Germany, Italy versus Brazil, Italy versus Argentina, this Italy versus England, there's so many stories and richness in terms of what this Italian team can bring. It's a bit sad. And honestly, they would have ended up as well in a group stage phase that they could very well have qualified from. That's the thing. We've got so many countries qualified to the World Cup that honestly, the group phase is going to be boring AF, and just a matter for the big team to play the game and get the win that they're supposed to get. It's disappointing on every level. I've kind of called the big reasons. I think what comes next, and I think what happens now is the next big question. We kind of talked about it with Ento before Italy got eliminated, because I said, we kind of it feels like watching a movie when you already know the ending, we kind of knew this is the way it was gonna go, and it did. So what comes next? I honestly don't know, but it feels like the whole system needs to be uprooted and rebuilt from the ground up, from the way the Italian league works, the federation, youth development and training, tactical identity of Italian football. There's 12 million things that they need to do. The coach and the staff of the national team. And then the mentality of it all. The mentality of it all, I think, ultimately is the biggest thing. We need, and they need, to be proud of their football again. And it's crazy that they're not, because once again, all of the building blocks are there in a way. When you've got they've got a squad which should be in the top, probably somewhere top, around top 10 to 15, 8 to 15, I would say, best teams in the world, given the squad. Honestly, they're missing in offense, they're missing on the wings a little bit, but they match up against so many teams, and given the history, given the know-how, they should be at a way higher level. So I don't know if Gattuso is gonna get let go, or if he's gonna go on his own accord. If he does, we'll just go back to the previous conversation, which is they don't necessarily have someone better now to replace him. Which is sad, because there's good coaches as well. There's good Italian coaches. You see Ancelotti taking care of Brazil, doing a pretty good job at it. You see Simone Inzaghi, who takes Inter to the final of the Champions League. There's talent. You see Allegri, he's been in business for a long time. You might like, you might not like. You can have your opinions, but no one can argue that he's not a good coach. And if necessary, I think honestly, I think it might be the time now for Italy to take on a foreign coach for the national team. I'm not a fan, because I think the national identity that a coach represents into international football is so important and so nice to have. But maybe someone coming from outside to change things and tell them how they're doing things wrong. And I think I've got a name in mind for you. Let me know in the comment what you think. But I think Didier Deschamps would be a very interesting candidate for the Italian team. He's got the linkage to Italy. He's been a Juventini player and coach. He's lived in Italy. He's been the national team coach of France for 14 years, I think, and he's ending his mandate after the World Cup. I think he'd be the perfect candidate. I don't know if he'd be interested, because I think after France, he might want to go back to club football or do something a little bit different. But I think it's a challenge that he'd be an absolute right candidate for it. Let me know in the comment what you think of it, and if you got any other ideas of who could take this on. But he'd be able to, change the mentality, bring back the sort of grit that Italian football is all about. Deschamps, I mean, as a French football fan, I can tell you that it's not the most beautiful football, but if anything, it's a very, very culturally like Italian kind of football. It's all about getting the win, however way you need to get the win, and then like worry about playing beautiful football later. It's about being like really solid tactically, defensively, before you move up the pitch to attack. So there's lots of points of comparisons with the way Italian football historically has been and probably should be. So I think that's going to be one thing, but I do think there's a wider conversation as well around like youth development. How do you make the Italian league? I think the Italian league right now, like I don't know because I'm obviously biased, but I'm curious because I would rank it honestly like probably about level with Ligue 1, which is sad because I remember in the 90s like the Serie A was the best league in the world, second to none. It was better than England, better than Spain, better than Germany, and it was miles ahead of Ligue 1, no questions. So there is a question mark. They do have very good teams as well. They're still like AC Milan, they're still Inter, they're still Juventus, they're still Roma, Lazio, you name it. Like the history and the assets that they have are incredible, and so they should be able to make better use of it. And so there's a question in terms of the organization of Italian football, the tactical identity, and the way they see the game, and the whole like talent system. How do you like encourage youth participation, detect talent early, bring them up and train them, and ultimately like give them access to the higher tiers of the games in a timely manner. And I think on the side of this, which is very structural, very long-term, the kind of conversations that needs to happen over like 10 plus years, you've got a very immediate conversation of the national team, who's the coach for it, how do they get back to like, not even winning ways, but like qualifying ways. Italy needs to be in every big competition. They need to be in every Euro. They need to be in every World Cup. There's no if or what about it. They just need to be. So how do you get to that? And then progressively, as talent comes up, and given the talent pool that you have, make the most of it and start getting to the later stages, start like performing, and start, and I think that's the most important part, start generating positive emotions. Start generating positive emotion, because this is what football is all about. And I'm speaking with my hands like an Italian, because like this is what football is about. It's about like bringing people together and giving them joy on a scale that is absolutely unique. And when a team goes onto the pitch with fear in their stomach, there is no joy to be had. And so that's kind of what I wish for the Italian soccer fans, and what I wish for the Italian team is that one way or the other, in the coming year, they're able to give us joy. So this is what I had for you on this Italian catastrophe, Italian defeat in Bosnia. Italy will not see North America, will not see the World Cup. It is ciao for now. Let me know in the comment what you think and what you make of this. Let me know, who you think would be a better coach for the Italian national team. Very curious to hear what you guys think. And as always, if you made it this far, please drop a like. If not for Italy and everything that I've said, for Bosnia, who in the end absolutely deserves their qualification. It's a bit sad because we're going to be talking about Italy and everyone is going to be talking about Italy. But Bosnia did exactly what they had to do. They did it well, so congrats to them. Well deserved on their side qualification to the US. So leave a like for that. As always, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Hit the bell to get notified of future video. And don't forget, in Bosnia, in Italy, in the US, this is Pare!